In the previous episode, we saw how Zheng Shuili was captured by debt collectors, who were now demanding that she pay off her parents' debt. If she refused, they threatened to make her work for them. Up next, desperate, Zheng Shuili pleaded with them to let her go, insisting it wasn't her debt, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. One of the men grabbed her by the hair and dragged her out. The man in the black suit slapped her across the face, sneering, "Stop howling like a ghost, or I'll kill you if you make another sound." The other man, holding her by the hair, pitied her mockingly. "Aren't all rich girls this cowardly? That's right. Don't make more trouble for me," the man in the black suit added. "If you had listened earlier, you could have avoided that slap." As they started forcing Zheng Shuili into their car, she spotted Li Xiulai watching her from the bushes. Zheng Shuili remembered what Li Xiulai had told her before. "The only one who can save you is me." Summoning all her strength, she broke free from the man's grip and ran toward Li Xiulai, shouting, "I believe you! Please save me!" The debt collector, furious, shouted after her, "You stinky bitch! How dare you run!" But Zheng Shuili didn't care. The only thing running through her mind was what Li Xiulai had said. "I am the only one who can save you." She collapsed to her knees in front of him, crying, "They're going to sell me out! Please, save me! You will, won't you?" Li Xiulai looked down at her coldly and replied, "You want me to save you? But first, you need to tell me everything you did to Teacher Guo." He pulled a recorder from his pocket and clicked it on. Zheng Shuili, trembling, began, "That old man, Guo, has been blocking my graduation defense, refusing to let me pass my thesis. I didn't mean to do anything wrong." Li Xiulai's voice turned sharp as he interrupted. "So, you framed him? You threw false accusations at him, leading to his suspension, just to remove him as an obstacle for your graduation?" Zheng Shuili, scared and crying, begged, "I really didn't mean it. Can you save me first? I'll tell you everything once I'm safe." The debt collectors, closing in, glared at Li Xiulai and snarled, "Mind your own business." But Li Xiulai didn't flinch. He kept his gaze fixed on Zheng Shuili and asked coldly, "Let me ask you one last time. Did Teacher Guo sexually harass you?" The man in the black suit, furious, approached Zheng Shuili, ready to grab her. In a panic, Zheng Shuili cried out to Li Xiulai, "Teacher Guo didn't sexually harass me." The man in the black suit, eyeing Li Xiulai, warned, "Stay out of this. Don't get in the way, or you'll regret it. Just walk away." Zheng Shuili, seeing the man closing in to drag her away, thought in desperation, "No, I can't let them take me, even if it's Li Xiulai, even if I despise him, as long as he can save me." Trembling, she confessed in front of Li Xiulai, "I deserve this. I was confused and framed Teacher Guo just to pass my graduation project. I know I was wrong now. Please, have mercy and make them let me go." Li Xiulai, staring coldly at her, asked, "So, you really understand what you've done wrong?" Zheng Shuili nodded frantically. "Everything that's happening now is my punishment. I deserve it," she begged. "Please save me, Li Xiulai. When the time comes, I'll help clear Professor Guo's name and make sure he returns to teaching." Having recorded her full confession, Li Xiulai calmly replied, "I'm sorry, but these men are not connected to me. I don't have the authority to ask them to let you go. One thing at a time. After all, it's only natural to pay off debts, isn't it?" He turned to the man in the black suit, nodding. "You may proceed." Zheng Shuili's face went pale in disbelief. He tricked me. She realized with horror that Li Xiulai had set her up, recording her confession of framing Teacher Guo. The bald man laughed cruelly at her and sneered, "You thought someone would come to your rescue out of a sense of justice? Dream on. I felt sorry for a beautiful girl like you being sold off to a nightclub, but now that I know you framed a teacher, I don't feel a thing." The man in the black suit, impressed by Li Xiulai's clever maneuver, said, "Boy, you did well. People like her, without remorse, deserve what's coming to them. You did the right thing." Li Xiulai, satisfied with the evidence he gathered, turned to leave and said, "It's none of my business now. I came to clear my teacher's name, and I've done my job." But before walking away, he looked back at Zheng Shuili one last time and reminded her, "I warned you, if you use money to oppress others, you'll eventually drown in it." Zheng Shuili, trembling in disbelief, began to fully grasp the gravity of what was happening to her. The bald man laughed again and, with a sneer, said, "A naturally lustful body like yours is perfect for selling." Zheng Shuili, watching Li Xiulai walk away after getting what he wanted, felt a surge of fury. She yelled after him, "What are you pretending to be, you poor bastard? Who do you think you are? You have no real skills, just these fake, mysterious tricks. I was such a fool to believe in you. Her thoughts raced. I'm so stupid. I was actually scared by him earlier and thought he was mysterious. Suddenly, the bald man grabbed her and lifted her onto his shoulder. They're all gone now, he sneered. There's no point in you shouting. He smacked her roughly and commanded, just follow along quietly. Furious and desperate, Zhang Xueli screamed at Li Xiulai, don't think that recording will help you. No one will believe you. Teacher Guo will be disgraced and won't be able to show his face ever again. Hearing this, Li Xiulai stopped in his tracks. He turned toward Zhang Xueli and replied coldly, dogs can't stop themselves from eating filth. I might as well tell you, I have more than enough money to pay off your debt right now. But it's a shame. You didn't pass my final test. I only help those who show true remorse. Zhang Xueli, still furious, shouted, You can't fool me again! The man in the black suit, curious, told the bald man, Wait a moment. This guy is interesting. Put her down. Let's see how this plays out. The bald man set Zhang Xueli down, and the man in the black suit smirked. Girl, he claims to be rich. Why don't you lower that proud head of yours and beg him? Maybe the little brother will soften his heart. Li Xiulai looked at the man in the black suit and asked calmly, How much debt does her family have? 1 million? The man in the black suit nodded. Yes, no more, no less. Exactly 1 million. With that, Li Xiulai took out his bank book and held it up, showing Zhang Xueli the proof of his wealth. The number in the account? $20 million. Zhang Xueli's eyes widened in disbelief. She ran toward Li Xiulai, stunned by what she saw, unable to comprehend how this was possible. As she reached out to get a closer look at the bank book, Li Xiulai quickly pulled it away, causing Zhang Xueli to fall to the ground. Looking down at her, Li Xiulai said coldly, I brought this passbook with me, fully prepared to help your family pay off its debt. But I never imagined you wouldn't value the opportunity I was offering. He paused and added, Why can't you just show a little patience? You change your attitude the moment things don't go your way. Li Xiulai smiled coldly at Zhang Xueli and said, Do you know why Feilong Technology acquired your family's company Udmira? Because I made the introduction. Zhang Xueli, in disbelief, murmured to herself, This is impossible. Li Xiulai looked at her with a mixture of pity and indifference. Is there anything more painful than falling into hell? He asked. You had a clear chance to escape the quagmire, but because of a moment's poor judgment, you missed it. This is the worst-case scenario. He turned to the man in the black suit and said, I don't want to be involved in Zhang Xueli's affairs anymore. Deal with her as you see fit, as if I was never here. The man in the black suit nodded and ordered his men to grab Zhang Xueli and put her in the car. Desperately, Zhang Xueli began begging Li Xiulai, Please, Li Xiulai, save me. I truly know I was wrong, but it was too late. The next day, on the university campus, Li Xiulai, with the help of Zheng Ming, played the recording of Zhang Xueli's confession about framing Professor Guo. The recording echoed through the speakers. That old man Guo has been blocking my graduation defense, refusing to let me pass my thesis. So I framed him, threw dirt on his name, and got him suspended just to remove this obstacle from my path and pass my defense. Li Xiulai's voice could be heard asking, Did Teacher Guo sexually harass you? Zhang Xueli's voice, trembling, responded, No, Teacher Guo did not sexually harass me. Students all around the campus were shocked, murmuring in disbelief. What is that sound? A recording? Some asked. Is that Zhang Xueli's voice? Who's the man speaking? Others were even more taken aback by the revelation. A rich, beautiful girl like her used her innocence to frame a professor, someone exclaimed. I don't know who's responsible for this, but it seems like justice is finally being served, another remarked. What a shame. Her voice is clear enough, but I can't recognize the man. At least Professor Guo should be able to clear his name now, another student commented. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, a female investigator reported to the principal, I've heard that Zhang Xueli's family has fallen. It seems someone with power is backing Professor Guo in all of this. The principal, unmoved, replied, What I'm looking at is business as usual. Now that the truth is out, no one is answering Zhang Xueli's calls. Let Professor Guo return to his teaching post. He's been wronged for far too long. It's outrageous that a student would falsely accuse a teacher just to pass her graduation defense. What happens if other students follow her example? The female investigator agreed, saying, That's exactly what the principal said. A man with glasses added, In the future, we must prevent situations like this from escalating. It's crucial to stop this kind of unhealthy trend before it spreads. After such a scandal, rumors spread across the university campus about Zhang Xueli. Some whispered, Zhang Xueli finally got what she deserved. She hasn't shown up since the recording surfaced. As rumors swirled around campus, a student whispered, I heard she dropped out. Her family went bankrupt, or something terrible happened. It's such a shame to drop out so close to graduation. 4 years of study wasted. Another remarked, someone said they saw her working at a nightclub. She looked completely different, but the person denied it was her. Who knows if it was really the rich girl? This just proves the saying, every evildoer is punished by their own actions. Jiang Ming, overhearing their conversation, listened silently. Li Shulai, noticing, pulled him away. Still eavesdropping? Are you ready to queue up? He teased. Jiang Ming chuckled and asked, Shulai, who do you think that kind-hearted person is? The one who seems to know everything about our school? Could it be one of our classmates? Li Shulai calmly replied, that person is me. Jiang Ming burst out laughing. Impossible! Someone who could bring down the Jiang family would need tens of millions in assets. You're so poor! He cut in line ahead of Li Shulai and said, don't worry, I'm here with you, and I won't let you go hungry. Li Shulai grinned and teased, cutting in line, huh? He grabbed Jiang Ming and pulled him back. With a playful pout, Jiang Ming asked, brother, is this how you treat me? Why are you being so distant? Li Shulai's eyes softened as he gazed across campus. Professor Guo's crisis is resolved now. Things will go smoothly from here on out. A moment later, Jiang Ming asked, I'm going to get a drink. Want anything? Li Shulai shook his head. No thanks. I'll just enjoy my soup. Jiang Ming nodded and walked off to get his drink. Suddenly, Li Shulai noticed Xiao Ning approaching him. She came straight to the point and asked, did you make that recording? Li Shulai didn't respond and quietly continued eating his food. Xiao Ning, not one to back down, said, not denying it is the same as admitting it. I could tell from the sound processing. You're the only one who could have done it, and the only one who cared enough to... Li Shulai glanced up at her. Since you already know, why are you asking? Xiao Ning, still pressing, asked, what happened to Zhang Shuili? Who were those people? Why do you hate her so much? Yes, she slandered Teacher Guo, but does she really deserve this fate? We can't just stand by and let her die. We can't just hand her over to them. Li Shulai's expression turned cold. She was taken by her creditors. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to pretend to be some hero and rescue her, and besides, she's not even beautiful. Despite his harsh words, he was inwardly impressed, thinking everyone else focused on the recording's content, but Xiao Ning noticed the environment Zheng Shuili was in. Does she have an overflowing sense of justice? Xiao Ning, visibly upset, asked, do you even know what will happen to her? Li Shulai, unbothered, replied, who knows? Some people are born bad and aren't worth saving. He then turned the conversation back to her. Did you ever think about what would have happened to Teacher Guo if no one had helped him? He's lived a clean life, and she tried to destroy it. I didn't act for revenge. I was just trying to help him. Zhang Shuili brought this on herself. Xiao Ning, visibly upset, got up from her seat and stormed off. Jiang Ming, who was coming back with his drink, saw her and tried to talk to her. Xiao Ning, what's wrong? He asked, but she was so angry that she didn't even acknowledge him. Confused, Jiang Ming muttered, did I say something wrong? Why does she have such a sour face? Li Shulai overheard and said teasingly, that's not a sour face. That's what they call a saintly face. Jiang Ming handed Li Shulai his drink and smiled. Between father and son, no need to say thank you. Li Shulai laughed, patting him on the back. Good son. Later, Li Shulai visited Teacher Guo in his office. Overjoyed to see him, Teacher Guo said, Shulai, I'm really grateful for everything you've done for me. To be honest, I didn't know what to do back then. I even thought of ending it all to prove my innocence. Li Shulai, slightly alarmed but not surprised, thought to himself, I knew you'd get stuck in that mindset. Teacher Guo continued, thankfully, your encouragement pulled me through. Without it, I wouldn't have seen the light at the end of this dark tunnel. Li Shulai smiled, relieved that everything had been resolved in time. Teacher Guo reflected, it's heartening to know that there's still fairness in this world. I just wish I knew who was behind all this. Someone out there did the right thing without even leaving a name. Looking at Li Shulai, Teacher Guo added, now let's get back to revising our paper. Where did we leave off last time? After his conversation with Teacher Guo, Li Shulai met with Liao Kexin. She excitedly told him, it's been revised! The short story I submitted a few months ago got published. The magazine sent me a few sample issues. So I'm giving you one as a thank you to my #1 fan. Li Shulai, delighted, took the magazine. I'm honored. Now you must sign it for me. When you become famous, this autographed magazine will be worth a fortune. He thought to himself, I've seen major internet giants, cultivation world leaders, and even Yang Feilong take Feilong Technology public ahead of schedule. But nothing has made me this excited. Is chasing stars really what excites me the most after my rebirth? Smiling, Li Shulai said to Liao Kexin, I'll definitely read it carefully. However, Liao Kexin seemed a little down. Li Shulai, noticing her low spirits, asked, Is something wrong? Liao Kexin tried to brush it off, saying, Don't worry, it's nothing. But Li Shulai pressed gently, Come on, tell me. Maybe I can offer some advice. After all, now that a great writer has sent me a book, I have to return the favor somehow. Liao Kexin, reassured by his words, opened up. Next week, my mom is bringing my younger brother to visit me. He's about to start high school, and my parents think the provincial capital's high schools are better. They've used their connections to get him into a school here, but since they both live in the countryside with their jobs, they want me, as the older sister, to take care of him. Li Shulai could sense there was more to the story. There's definitely something heavier weighing on her, he thought. Liao Kexin continued, My manuscript was published recently, and I earned a little money from it. My brother saw my name in the magazine and asked if it was really me. I didn't deny it. I wanted to prove to them that I could make it on my own, that their efforts raising me weren't in vain. But instead of being proud, my parents started thinking I could drop out of school and become a full-time writer to take care of my brother. My mom called me and said, You can write articles at home. Your brother's in high school now, which is a critical time. Drop out and take care of him. Liao Kexin tried to reason with her mother, explaining that she had worked hard to get into university and her brother's grades are not that good. But her mother dismissed her concerns, saying, I don't care. With a top student like you helping him, he'll definitely get into a better university than yours. After hearing the full story, Li Shulai asked, What do you think? Liao Kexin, resolute, replied, Dropping out is not an option. I'm not a product of feudal ignorance, and I will never sacrifice my future for my brother. Li Shulai smiled and said, Good. As long as you stand firm, they can't force you into anything. You can continue writing, become financially independent, and free yourself from their control. Never give up on your writing. Liao Kexin felt a little better after hearing his encouraging words. I won't give up on my studies or my writing, she said. But it still hurts knowing my parents don't support my dreams. Li Shulai responded, Sometimes family is not the antidote to life. It can be the chain that holds us back. You know it's a chain, so don't let it drag you down. Keep moving forward.